Listening to the Dave Sweetmore show, that's Blossoms and Blown Rose, and I played that for a reason, and that is because it's not just a great tune, but my next guest is the frontman, founding member, singer, guitarist of one of the most talked about bands at the moment, and definitely one of the bands to watch for 2021. And he is also, as well as being a top lad and a great friend of mine, is the biggest Blossoms fan I've ever met in all my life. From Flechettes, the one and only Jack Heaton. How you doing, man?
How you doing, Dave? Nice to see you.
You too, pal. Cheers for taking the time out. And it's weird, innit? I keep saying this to all the bands we have on. It'd be so good for you to be in the studio like normal. But, you know, Zoom's next best thing, innit? It's better than nothing, innit?
Yeah, I mean, it's still, I can still hear your voice, and that's enough for me.
You say all the right things, you. No, seriously, you're a massive, massive Blossoms fan. And that's my favourite Blossoms record. And I thought we'd like compromise, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone who knows me knows I live, breathe and bleed Blossoms. Everyone knows that.
I remember being in Stockport a couple of months ago and I drove past, there's a pub in Stockport where the band are from called Blossoms, which is where they got the name from. And I remember taking a picture of it and sending it to you.
You tagged me, didn't you?
Got to do that, yeah. Listen, anyway, never mind Blossom. It's all about Flechettes tonight. I've just said it and I genuinely mean it. One of the most talked about bands of the moment. Jack, if we go back a couple of years, obviously you were a pretty renowned singer-songwriter, in your own right, in your hometown of Wigan. How did the band Flechettes form from you being a solo artist?
Well, Dave, the funny thing is that you were actually a key figure in the formation of Flechettes, because what actually happened was I was on the circuit in Wigan and Manchester, being a student in Manchester and coming home for the weekend. I was virtually non-stop gigging. I think I'd been in a band when I was about 17. It broke up and I had a choice, which was then either stop or go solo. So that's what I did. But I always knew that I'd form another band. I just didn't know when, you know what I mean? I didn't want to rush it. And all I did then was play the Manchester circuit and the Wigan circuit virtually non-stop for when I went to uni. So September 2018 to sort of July 2019, I just didn't stop. Now, Stanley's, who were another Wigan band, again, revered all over the place for how good they are. And big friends of mine. Their guitarist Jake Dorsman was I was moaning to him that there was no musicians to form a band with, and what happened was he said to me, well, Johnny Raper and Nicky Kitts are looking for a band. So I knew Will Watts, we'd been in bands on and off since we were 12, and we said, well, let's get together and see what happens. But the thing was that we got together, and then after the first week Jake said, Luke, there's an opening slot on our gig in July, do you want to do it? So we said, yeah, and that gave us an incentive to practice. And then eventually we just said, right, well, we're going to make something of it, what we're going to be called. And I remember when I supported the Lathams in June, I think it was, it might have been July, actually. It might have been June 2019. I was running names for bands through you outside. And I said Flechettes, and he said, you like that one?
Yeah, outside Independence in Wigan, I remember it, yeah.
And then when I said to the boys, I said, Dave likes this one, let's use that. And that's literally what happened. That is literally how it went down.
Well, I'm going to ask you the question because I know everybody asks it. Yeah, the name Flechettes, where does it come from? What does it mean?
So, as I mentioned, I'm a student in Manchester. And in my first year, at that particular time in June 2019, I was revising for my exams when I wasn't gigging. So I was doing one or two things. I was either gigging or I was revising, which wasn't a bad way to live, but it was incredibly stressful. And what happened was I was looking at some old documents from the war. Now, fléchette is the French word for a dart. So I was looking at that, and this particular passage said something like the application of fléchettes in war. And I looked at that, and when you see like a poster with loads of band names on, and they're all there, and I thought that'll look good. It looked good. And then I said to the boys, what do you think? And they all said, yeah, let's use that. So that's what it's been ever since.
And not only that, it's easy to find on, on the internet as well, which is a great thing. So Jack Heaton, absolute respected solo star, forms a band less than 2 years ago. And in the space of a couple of years, Flechettes have become one of the most talked about bands of the moment. Last year, you brought out a couple of great EPs, In the Mood and Chasing Youth as well. And then obviously 2020 March comes along, a pandemic hits, and a lot of bands went off the circuit a little bit and went quiet. You lads kept busy. I remember seeing you at a festival in Manchester, Fest, and you made sure that you kept out there.
Definitely. people always talk about the wheels falling off when they're talking about things like that. I took it as a very personal duty to keep the wheels on all the way through the lockdown. So that it starts off in March. We played a show for This Feeling in Manchester at ATMA on March the 7th. We didn't know, like the rest of the country didn't, for the next 2 weeks that what was coming. The lockdown came and we had gigs that were planned. We cancelled them. Even before the lockdown actually came, there was a couple of gigs that we had to sell out. You know, it's not really safe to be doing it. And as a result of that, it was very, very tough because you have to adapt. And I don't think we'd have as many listeners as we've got now had we not learned how to navigate social media during the first lockdown. Because what we had to do was we had to do the live streams. Johnny was at home. Nicky was in Manchester. Nicky stayed in Manchester. So I had to get them to film stuff from there, which is hard to navigate when you're using WhatsApp and things like that, because sometimes messages don't appear as a notification and you're waiting for a couple of days and then I better give them a ring. And it's things like that. It was, I think, the first lockdown, and I think that period of time could be described as a very much the sort of it's the word I'm looking for. It's like a mechanisation of bands, and you either jumped over the wall or you didn't. And if you didn't, you dropped off the face of the earth and nobody heard from you. So I feel like the bands that are around now are the ones who really stuck it out during lockdown.
I think the great thing with you as well, and like I say, I've known you for a couple of years, you're a top man, a great friend and all that, is you're an absolute...
As are you.
No, you're an absolute perfectionist with the music, and I think that's one of the reasons why everybody is getting behind you now. This Feeling, who without a doubt are one of the most important, brands, if you like, of new music in the country, they've got behind you. They've got an album coming out, Ones to Watch 2021 soon. Loads of radio stations are getting behind you, which is an absolute privilege to have you on here tonight as well. This new album that This Feeling are bringing out, I mean, they could have had tens of thousands of bands from the country on, and you're the one of the 20, 25 they've picked. That must be a great thing for you.
This Feeling are a great company, and George Holmes and Mikey are great just people in general, always happy to talk to us, always happy to give us advice where we need it. But the Big in 2021 album on vinyl, which is limited, and I think it's nearly sold out now, was something that when they said we're going to select you as a Big in 2021 act, that in itself we felt was an achievement. We felt that was something that is quite coveted. It's quite like something that it didn't really feel like it was real for a couple of days, and then they turned around and said, right, we're going to do the vinyl, and it was like, wow, you know what I mean? To be amongst the company that we are, Garden Party and friends of ours, the Stanleys are on it, and it's just something that it really felt fulfilling.
Yeah, but the Big in 2021 thing, you must be used to it now because everyone's saying it about you.
Well, we have a couple of fans who absolutely dive on everything that we post, and they're always on that, and we're always dead appreciative of everybody. One thing that I've always done, and one thing that I'll never stop doing as long as it's physically possible, is replying to every comment and liking every retweet and all the rest of it, because that's really important to me. That feels like connecting with the fans who've done so much for us to get us to where we are.
And that is
not that I'm saying we're one of the biggest bands in the world. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the fans that have stuck by us through the hardest times, when there was no new music, when there was no, there was nothing really to offer at the time, and they stuck by us through that, and we never forgot that, and we never forget who they are.
And that is why everyone loves you. And while we're recording this interview as well, which, as I said at the beginning, we're having to do it by Zoom, you've just announced a tour as well, which is dead exciting for October.
We have, yeah. It's our first ever tour with This Feeling. Again, we're massively grateful for them to be involved with it. So we're doing Manchester off the Square on October the 2nd. We're doing Liverpool EBGBs on the 8th, on Friday the 8th of October. Then we're doing Leeds Lending Rooms on Saturday the 9th of October, and that's where the tour finishes.
3 great venues as well, though. Do you know what I mean? So, and if anyone is actually listening to this and you're not familiar with this feeling, they do the club lights, do follow them on social media, because what the lads do for new music is amazing. It is so, so good. So you've got the tour coming up at the end, at the end of the year in October, which we can't wait for. Really, really excited for that. And obviously you've got a brand new single coming out on February the 26th. It's a double A side, Man of the Hour and Solitude. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, Man of the Hour was actually, if you remember Chasing Youth, Man of the Hour was actually, the actual chords were written on the same day, but it was looked at from an entirely different viewpoint, because what happened was we did Chasing Youth was written in about October, not November 2019, and we played it live before we recorded it, and basically when the time came that lockdown was on the first one, I was at home and I had the chords. I have like voice memos on before, loads of voice memos, and I was going through them, and I found these chords, and it was dated the same day as Chasing Youth was written. So I was going through them, and at that time I've been listening to a lot of Nick Cave and a lot of early Arctic Monkeys stuff from Favourite Worst Nightmare, and the lyrics of Man of the Hour just virtually came from nowhere. It's one of them songs where the music was already there, but the lyrics were just literally looking at my phone, and I was just filling the space that was there. And then you have to stop yourself, That's something a lot of people don't talk about. Is sometimes you can write too much. You know what I mean? You have to then trim some off and think, right, well, that's fine as it is. But Solitude was something that was actually quite an anomaly, really, because we had another song that was prepped to be on the B-side. And what happened was, a couple of days before we went in the studio, I was sat at home, and I had the 12-string guitar out, and I hadn't really used the capo on a 12-string all that much. I'd done it a couple of times, but never anything major. And I had these chords, and I just started, playing away. And all of a sudden, I said to my mum and dad, I said, I need to come in here and in this room that I'm in now, I said, I need to come and sort this out. So I was in here for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then I came out and I showed them. They said, "Hey, you should do that." I said, show the lads, and then you hear the slide guitar in the intro.
Yeah, of course.
That was something that was added like after. I think we built that song in the studio, it's fair to say, but it's very, very inspired by sort of musically the acoustic Kings of Leon. It's like Wickerture and Walls and stuff like that. But lyrically, I was listening to a lot of Sticky Fingers, if you know Sticky Fingers are.
Yeah.
Listening to a lot of them. And it came out like that. And it was a bit of an eclectic mix, which I don't really like doing. I like sort of going with one direction for that particular song. Because as you know, we like to be as versatile as we can. But with this particular song, it sort of brought two things together, which we'd never really done. And that was something that we thought was really unique.
Well, 2 great tracks. I'm going to have to let you go in a minute because we are running out of time, but it's been an amazing couple of years for you. Once again, This Feelings album, which the lads are on, is going to be coming out soon. It's a limited edition, so try and get your hands on that through the This Feeling social media pages. You're all over the place at the moment, loads of radio stations. You've got the tour in October. The Man of the Hour and Solitude single comes out on February the 26th. Before we let you shoot off, Jack, I've just got to ask, any plans of an album or anything like that? Could we see that happening in the future?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Dave, because I don't feel like there's a more appropriate place to say what we're going to be doing, and that's where you. It started with you, and this is,
I like it. Go on,
so
tell us.
We are going to be recording an EP in March. There's going to be a single off that probably around April, May time, and then the actual full EP will come out late May, we think.
Well, we can't wait.
There is that to be forward to.
Did you know what? Please, we keep in touch anyway, but keep in touch. Let us know what's going on. And, we'll absolutely hammer all your music on this show because we proper love you. But Jack, seriously, you're a top man. You're one of the most dedicated musicians I've ever met in my life. And with your band Flechettes, there is no doubt, you know what I mean? It's going to be brilliant. The future's looking great. Nice one, Jack. Thank you for taking the time out, man. And hopefully we'll see you at gigs soon, yeah?
Cheers, Dave. Nice one. Thank you very much.
And this is one of the brilliant new tracks from Flechettes. Comes out on February the 26th. This is Man of the Hour.